Okay guys, I'm hoping my phone has enough charge to keep going. I'm plugged in, but I know that lives are crazy draining. So I'm not sure if I'll get both layouts done before my battery dies. So I am going to do a remix of the last layout from True North, and so I decided this is going to require an all-purpose mat. So I decided to add splatter to the pages. So you're not going to be, I did it beforehand on the layout backgrounds just so that it would dry in time for me to assemble. But I thought we would talk a little bit about what I actually did. So I have cut a card base from the almond. So that's the same color as the background for the layout. And so I've just cut a piece of cardstock, and it's 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5 1/2. So it's just going to create a standard size card base. But I thought I would just talk a little bit about the technique of what I did. So this is the color palette for the True North bundle. The bundle was created for our 15th anniversary, and it's such a fall color palette. I think that you could use the things in lots of different ways. But so what I've done is I have pre-cut out the layout, and it's the last layout for the workshop. So I've cut out all my pieces, and I think I inked where I needed to ink, and I'm going to try and assemble one. If I still have battery power, I'll keep going. But so for the technique to add a little bit something different, what I decided to do is I grabbed one of our pens, our spray pens, and we sell them in packages of 3. So, and that's their number, Z1380. I have a whole pile of them all over the place all the time. One I keep with just water in it for when I'm watercoloring, and some things that I want to use as splatter that I would use a lot of. I just leave mine mixed. So what's in here, you can do it with water or you can do it with rubbing alcohol. I prefer rubbing alcohol just because it dries faster. But you can do exactly the same thing with ink, with water. So I've taken a few lines of rubbing alcohol and a few drops of espresso, and they're in my spray pen. And you just want to have something that's going to protect your work surface. So I have our all-purpose mat down, and the biggest thing to be careful of, because I'm absolutely notorious for doing it, is double check which way you're spraying. So you can tell that the spray is where the black nozzle is. So just make sure to have that towards the surface of whatever you want to spray. And then the spray will look different depending on, you can tell something I was spraying earlier. My hands are all spotted. So it's the same technique. I used to use it when I acrylic painted, but you can get different looks for spraying depending on how close or how far away from the surface you are. But so it's super easy. Once you have it in your spray pan, you just simply spray your surface. And it just kind of gives it like the coffee stain look or a little bit of distress. I'm just going to open it up so I don't go through to my backside. You can also take it, and you see I have Osprey. You can dip your paper in that too, and it gives it a different kind of look. So I'm just going to go on the edge here, and you kind of get a completely different kind of look. So there you go. And like I said, depending on whether you are close to your surface or far away, you're going to get, or at an angle, you're going to get a different look. Okay, so when you're finished, I'm going to put my lid back on here. But one of the other things to consider is that all of our shimmer brushes can be used to also create splatter. So with the spray pen, it's quite condensed. It's like that grunge look, coffee stain look, but I wanted to add just a little bit of something more on top of that, just to add another dimension. So I pulled out my gold shimmer brush, and again, same thing. There's lots of different techniques you can use with it, but I have a little pile of gold shimmer there, and I'm just going to tap my shimmer brush down onto my surface. If I don't want ink over here, or shimmer I guess over here, I'm just going to lay my piece of paper so any spray splatter. And if you want bigger drops, you just have to make sure that you have lots of shimmer on your brush. So I've just picked up lots of, and then my dots are bigger. Okay, so that is what I did to my background, just to make it a little bit different. Now we're going to assemble the pages. So I'm just going to move this up here. I'm just going to move this out of my way because I will drag my pages through it. So like I said, I pre-sprayed my background so that they would have a chance to dry. And I have all my pieces for the layouts pre-cut out over here. And now we're just going to quickly, hopefully, put them together. So like I said, if it was just a little bit too plain in the background for you, this is perfect. It just kind of adds another layer onto your page. So I'm going to grab my mat and get started. Okay, so this is the left-hand side layout. I don't think I changed up too much on it, but I think that, yeah, I don't think I really changed up very much other than the background. So let's get to assembling it. Hopefully I kept my piles in the right spot. So on the bottom is the plaid. You could take any of the, I'm just going to work from the bottom up. You could take any of the colors and do the exact same thing. So I thought that the red and white layout that's also in this workshop would be great with candy apple with the rubbing alcohol sprayed onto the layout. Just gonna move my second page. So I'm just going to adhere it right to the bottom. I could see that I got splatter on this a little bit, but you'd never notice. It's just like a little tiny fine line of the gold. Plus it's all over my hand, so it kind of doesn't really surprise me. So I'm just adding these two lines in at the bottom. You could totally take this layout and switch up the colors and to match your kids' hockey colors. My son was maroon and white, so it's kind of a little boring. You'd probably have to add some sort of accent color in there. but you get the idea. Okay, so that says attach 2A and 2B. So then we're going to attach 2C, D, E, and F. So that is all these pieces up here. So I'm going to attach the saffron piece first because it's the biggest piece. And they have it going on at 5.5 inches from the bottom. So all the measurements, everything are in the directions. You just, if you want it exactly the same, you just have to follow it. It shows you how to cut out all the pieces. So So 5.5 from the bottom is here. So I'm just going to add some adhesive on the back. It makes it so fast. You just literally have to follow the directions. And with my Versamat underneath there, it's super easy just to line it up from one side to the other on the page. Okay, and then the espresso piece. So that's just 1/2 inch up from the, to have it just 1/2 inch up from here. So right there, right in the middle. Now I'm going to add the corner piece over here. So it just creates like a faux dovetail. The piece is actually cut out as a triangle, but it doesn't, you're not actually cutting the cardstock. I'm just going to put it in the middle there. And I actually think I will glue my title together. So for quickness, I'm just going to add liquid glass. You could do dots, you could do tape runner, whatever you prefer. But I thought liquid glass would be the fastest. And I'll just add this here. Okay, and I'm going to add it down there for spacing. Okay, so we are at 2C and D, E and F. E and F. So we have everything done there. Oh, the vellum is the other piece. So I'm going to just try the teeniest dots behind my vellum. And so on the vellum, you just put with your pen a faux stitch line. So I'm just going to add a few dots, the tiny, tiny ones, right behind a few of the stitch lines, because you're never going to notice them once it's actually adhered down on your layout. And you don't really need, the vellum doesn't weigh very much, so it doesn't need a ton of adhesive down to stay down. So there we go. Like I said, I'm hoping my battery is just gonna, I am plugged in, so hopefully I get to the point where my charge is more than I'm expending. But Facebook Lives are such a battery drainer, it's crazy. So I'm just lining that up across the top of this. Sometimes it's hard to get things straight when you're at an angle. I like to actually stand over top. Okay, so we've done that. So now we're going to attach the photo mat. And I'm just going to add a little doodle around here. I want my surface flat, that's all. I did pre-stamp all of this, all the extra pieces too, so that you didn't have to watch me do that. But I will talk about it when we get to adding those on. So, like I've said, a few of the fun techniques in this workshop are like the rock and roll on the leaves, and then they have you do ombre stamping for the hockey mom. So it's super easy. You just put your stamp pad in your lightest color first up to the point that you want. So in this case it's the saffron and the espresso. Okay, so we're going to add our photo 4 inches from the bottom. There we go. So when I do this and I add these on before the photo mats, when I go back, I can decide, depending on what photo I have, I just add the doodling, because lots of times I'll just crop down my photo and use this like a white mat. But if you don't like that look, you don't have to do that. So then add in this piece underneath. If you have your photo ready to go, just add your photo, and you definitely don't need to add the doodling if you don't want to. I'll add, when I add my photo on there, I'm going to probably leave the mat. So I cut this one just a little bit bigger to get my sizing right, so that it fit properly, because you're cutting apart a stamp. So I just wanted it a little bit wider than it actually showed, just so that I had a little bit of room if I made a mistake, or I just found it easier to line it up. So now I'm just gonna trim off the slight extra that I had on there. You could see on the back where I went crooked, I didn't like it, so I re-stamped it. So that's just under there. Now this. So I actually think I'm going to add the doodle around this box too. I don't know what it is about the so much white space. I think that's why I thought the adding the spray to the background was just kind of nice. It works super well too on white. You can kind of make your own paper. So, and a lot of re-inker goes a long way. I'm pretty sure I used like 2 drops in my spray bottle. Okay, so I'm going to show you this piece that I stamped. So at the top, you can see it's the saffron on the top and then the espresso on the bottom. And you can see how it's just been laid into the stamp pad, and it creates this super cute ombre look. So I am just going to add the twine at the top. Before I add it onto my page. And because I think I'm going to add it to this piece right here. And I'm going to, okay, so these are my scissors that I use for ribbon and twine. They're not the non-sticks, they're just the normal scissors. And I find they just work a little bit better for the twine. And I don't cut any paper with them, and that's why there's the ribbon on it, so I know that that's what they're for. I mean, you could tell the difference between the scissors, but when they're sitting on my desk, I'll pick up whatever is right in front of me. So I just cut a piece of the twine slightly longer than the piece that I'm going to attach it to, and I'm just going to attach it with washi tape onto the back. You can use Scotch tape or washi tape, whatever you have lying around. I have lots of ends of rolls of washi tape, and I always just have one sitting on my desk, so I keep it just back here on the dispenser. This gold dot was one of my favorites, and every year at Christmas time I totally wish we would bring it back. So now you can see everything's all attached before I even put the twine down. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I don't normally go live on Sunday, but we've had a crazy week, and everybody went to my mother-in-law's for lunch today except for me. So I thought, why not do this now? Okay, so this is supposed to be 3 inches from the bottom and just like 1/4 of an inch over. And the only reason I line everything up is because I'm like that. You totally don't have to do it this way. You can wing it. The pictures, you can go straight from the pictures. It's super easy to kind of guesstimate. You can go as close to the directions or far away from the directions as you would like. That's all the fun. Okay, so there we go. And I'm just going to use my piercing tool. And I'm just going to kind of break apart my little tie. You could also do a bow here if you prefer. So this is the piercing tool from the new Fiskars Matte and Piercing Tool. Okay, so now I'm going to attach my vellum, and I'm going to use a foam dot, glue dot, not a foam dot. And this doesn't matter because you're going to cover it up right away with your little piece of saffron that you've stamped with your heart. So, but I am going to use a foam dot on this one. So our foam dots come in 2 thicknesses. There's the thin and the thick. I seem to have a really lot of thin packages open right now, so that is what I'm using. But it's super handy because you can then create different heights for everything. Okay, so now I am going to attach my title. Oh, I need this piece. There we go. I'm just going to check my battery in a second and make sure to see how that is going. And if we have still some power, I'm going to assemble the other side. So I have tons and tons of hockey photos, so this will not be hard for me to fill up this page. So I'm just going to, for ease of it drying quickly, add liquid glue onto the back of my title. Two, it gives you a little bit of a chance, if you're slightly off, to be able to move it. And I think I'm going to stand up to add my title. So I don't know if I can actually see what my battery is at, but we're going to keep going. And if it dies, I'll finish it in another video. Okay, so now we are done everything. I'm just going to add some sequins. And for this, so in the bundle, part of the bundle, there are 4 different shades of sequins. So from darkest to lightest. And they're super fun to mix up your different shades. And I think I'm going to use these goldy ones. And I'm going to set these aside. I keep shoving them on top of each other, and they're mixing and matching themselves onto other sheets. So I'm just going to push a few down. So I'm just adhering them a little bit better down onto their backgrounds, because they have a glue dot underneath them. So sometimes they get peeled up without their glue dot, and it's super easy to just restick them or add a different glue dot to them. And they're 2 different sizes. So I think that is super cute, and I love it. I know it's super hard to see, but the little bit of gold shimmer on the background is so pretty. So I'll see. I'm not really sure. But so here's some of the re-inker in the rubbing alcohol, and I've just sprayed it on, and then I've added the gold shimmer brush on top of it. Here you can see there's some bigger dots. Okay, so we're gonna keep going until my phone actually dies, because I want to get this done while there's still time for you guys to all order the bundle. So here's the other page, and let's see. So I've printed all of the directions and the cutting guide here. And we've done all the other pages. Here we go. So we're getting close to the end. So I'm gonna have to move on to another bundle after this. I kind of am ready to. But, okay, so I'm just going to set this aside right here. And this is pretty similar to the other page. So, like I said, I pre-cut all the pieces. This is actually a super fast workshop to cut too. So it doesn't take very long. And it's a super good deal when you order it as the bundle. So I'm just going to adhere the pattern paper to the bottom. And like I said, once you have the guide, you could swap it out for anything. Let's say you don't play hockey. You can use the same pattern on a different layout for anything. It doesn't even need to be another sport. You could just switch out the colors, for example, with our boutique, and you'd have like a soft spring layout go in instead of the fall theme here. So this is a piece of paper from the Grateful Heart, and I have 2 workshops already designed, like on my blog for Grateful Heart. I have a full workshop, which is super cool and does like a chevron technique with the on one of the pages, and then there's a mini workshop which is just 3 pages, so that there's a little bit of something for everybody. If you don't want to do all 6 pages, then there's just like a mini workshop. Some people like the mini workshop, it's just a little bit less supplies. Okay, so now we are adhering this one at 5.5 from the bottom. So there seems to be snow all over the place everywhere. We have not been hit with the snow, but it was so cold yesterday with the wind. It was crazy. I had to run to the mall with my daughter to exchange something, and walking across the parking lot was crazy. But at least we haven't had a major dump yet. I'll say yet because we will. But I will take the less snow. Not that I'm the one that normally shovels or anything, but when there's a ton, everybody has to shovel. Okay, so I'm just gonna center this here. Okay, so if you guys watched yesterday, I created another journaling box, and I'll just show you what I did. So exactly what I did was I took a scrap piece, well, not a scrap piece, but a piece of white cardstock. So when you want to create your journaling box, yes, I'm rifling through the garbage behind me. So I just lined it up on my mat and used my ruler on the Versamat to draw the lines. So where did I do with my pen? Oh, here it is. So it's easy enough. Let's pretend that this is the edge and this is the edge. If I want 1/4 of an inch on each side, then I'm just going to draw my first line and then just move it down on my mat, and it's super easy to line up the same distance. And always work down so you're not actually dragging your pen, your ruler through your pen until it's dry. So it's super easy. And let's say with your mat underneath, it's so easy to get all your lines exactly the same width apart. And then just set it aside so that your lines have a few minutes to dry before you're adding them onto your box. And then this 100%, I cut apart every single stamp, I think, in the stamp set that had words. So I cut apart the 100 and the 100% and then the Canadian. I haven't cut apart the Hockey Mom yet, I don't think. No. Because I used this hockey by itself. I cut this one up into 3 pieces so that you could use them. You can mask them off, but it's just so much easier to cut them apart. Then you don't have to worry about putting them back together. You could use them. Oh my goodness. You can mask them off, but it's just... There you go. You don't need to listen to me. Hey, Mary. So, I'm just quickly adding my doodling. I probably should have done this before. I always find it too I find it easiest to draw away from myself. And the reason that I add the little tick doodle marks in the middle of these is because I find it easier to stop and start instead of going in one straight line. But everybody's different. Some people I've seen add little hearts. Some people can do it all in a straight line, like all the way around. I just kind of eyeball it so that I'm about the same distance around my edges. But I did it on the other side of the layout, so I have to do it on this side too. Sorry. I probably should have done it before. And I need to adhere my title. I think I'm short a piece. So in order to do the lives, I cut up all the pieces beforehand, and they are sitting in a box beside me. But of course, every time I'm doing a live video, I'm digging around in my box, and sometimes the pieces are obviously getting dislodged. So I'm sure it's right beside me. I'll just have to pull it out of the bottom of the box. Like there's one, but I still need one more. But it'll be easy enough to fix. Okay, there we go. Oh, here it is. I found it. I have them all sitting on another mat right beside me, so it must have just slid off. Okay, so I'm going to add my title, and then we'll add the vellum down. So included in the instructions are all the Design Space files to cut all the pieces that you need. So some of the circles, and they're already sized to the right size for the project. So the titles, for example, like the Go Team, and on other layout there's a Thankful title. They're all pre-sized to the right size, so all you have to do is copy and paste your link and cut them out. So I kind of just set them all on my Cricut. I think it said to cut out your manual cuts first and then do your Cricut cuts. So again, I'm just going to add a few glue dots, and I'm just adding them underneath the faux stitched lines because you're not going to be able to ever see them, especially once it's under a page protector. Vellum can be a funny thing to try and adhere because it's see-through. So if you can disguise it some way, that's probably your best bet. Like on the other page where there's another layer on top of it. And like I said, you don't need very much to hold it down. So there you go. Okay, so we're in the final phase here. Okay. So it just says this one is about 3 inches from the bottom and 1/4 of an inch between them all. For this kind of thing, I'm just going to eyeball it. Here's the missing piece. It miraculously returned. Ta-da! And then this one gets just tucked underneath here. Just again, the thing is, it's just showing that there's another layer there. Okay, this goes down here. Again, I'll add my twine on here, except for I do not, oh, here it is. There we go. Okay. Again, my scissors, see, it's so easy to tell. I'm just gonna tie it first and then I'll attach it with my washi. And I love the little dispenser, it just makes it so easy. And they're like magnetic, so you can just swap it out with anything, any washi tape. I was actually thinking I could probably add glue dots into those too. So because we're gonna add, I want my twine a little bit higher, I'm going to add it kind of to one of my tie to one of the edges, because I want it to be on the side of the skates. So I'm putting it closer to where my journal lines are. I'm just going to attach it to the back. Like so. Okay, and then this is going down here, and I'm just going to add foam on the top and the bottoms here when it comes time to add that. Okay, I'm done with my pen. I'm still going to need that. And those scissors I don't need right now. Okay, so here we go. We're in the final stretch. So this piece actually goes over top of the photo, but because I don't actually have my photo here, I'm just going to add it at the bottom. If you want to, again, do it before and still be able to, and put it actually over top of your photo, you can just add adhesive on the edge. And it'll all be good. So if I wanted to, what I would do is I'll just add this over top. And I'm just going to put adhesive just on the edge. And then when I cut my photo, because I've already said that I want the box around to have the white mat, when I trim out my photo, I can just slide it underneath here like this. I'm actually going to add this next. If you want, you could also pop this if you're gonna run the twine around the back too. It's easy to just add foam adhesive, and then that doesn't get in the way of the twine. But I think I added more than enough adhesive that it'll stick itself down. Okay, well, my battery's still going, so that's good. We will finish. I probably will not be able to make the card, but I'm going to use the piece that we used, that I set aside. You can't see, I'm pointing behind my back, with the spray on it, and I'm going to remake one of the other cards. So, and then we have our title. I actually think I'm going to pop this up on with foam tape. So these are just the inside pieces from the shakers, shaker window and acetate pieces, because you're not using the inside, but look, they're perfect because they're different shapes. And there's all these corner pieces, so they're perfect for a triangle. So make sure to use everything. There's just some different sizes because lots of them are big and perfect to use, but the little tiny pieces work perfectly for filling in some of the spaces. There we go. I just have, so I keep a tray with all my different adhesives that I'm using just on the side of my desk all the time. So just I have a pile of the foam squares and the dots and foam tape and then my tape runner, and it's just sitting beside me all the time. Hey Linda. And then I just pull out whatever I need. So I've got everything all grouped together. So I'm just gonna pull the waxy paper off. So I thought that the gold shimmer flecks on it just kind of brought out the nice warm tones of the saffron and the other colors. You know what? I'm going to move my title, or the Go Team. It's not really the title. I'm going to put it over here instead. And now I'm going to add foam onto the top of these. So I'm just going to put some at the top and the bottom so that the twine in the middle just kind of sits in the middle. So there's the top of the skates. And the bottom. Just that way you don't get a lump from your twine, because this is over top of your twine. And the shimmer brush flecks too work nicely to bring out the sequins. So there, now it just sits nicely over top of the twine, and I'm just going to trim my ends and just run my piercing tool through them. Okay, sequins, and we're done. So because I used the gold ones on this side and we've got the gold shimmer trim going on, I'm going to add gold sequins to this side. Woo. And there's tons of sequins in here, so you've got lots of sequins to play with. You can add as many or as few as you would like. Okay, so we made it without my battery dying. That's a good day. So I will just lift them up so they're a little bit closer to the camera so you can see them. So here's the first layout, and like I said, if you didn't see, we've added the spray pen and re-inker with the espresso re-inker in it, and then we splattered it with the gold shimmer brush. And it's super hard to see. I'm going to try and catch it in photographs and I'll post them. But so here's the rework of the first side of the layout, the left-hand side. And the right-hand side. So there you go. So make sure to print everything off, and if you guys have any questions about the True North bundle, just let me know, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great Sunday, guys. Bye-bye.